Alright. Come on. Episode 63 of the Scott Gibson Show. I am Scott Gibson. Who else would I fucking be? New episode. It's the first episode of the new year. It is 2021. We are living in a sci-fi universe where the world has been turned upside down, inside out, rinsed out like a used condom, reused over and over again, and we find ourselves cowering in the corner like Michael Jackson in that drawing that he did that they found because his father used to... Anyway, listen, odd start, but hello. Welcome. I hope you're safe and well, as always. Unsure what we're going to talk about today, and then we had the wonderful news last night. I also enjoy the way now that Nicola Sturgeon and Bojangles in the South have agreed that they are just going to treat us like our divorced parents. I'm enjoying this. They're clearly having meetings behind our backs. You know, they're having discussions about what we should give the kids, what freedoms the children will have, because they're getting a bit older. The children are starting to ask some questions. So they're agreeing between themselves what will be discussed. And then they obviously part ways back to their own homes, whether that be Edinburgh or Westminster. And then Sturgeon just goes rogue, like the crazed fucking divorcee that she now seems to be. And well, now instead of getting one hit of bad news, we're getting double whammy. A double whammy of bad news. If you're in Scotland, you know, we sit and we listen to Sturgeon saying, "You're fucking snibbed, you shower about fucking dicks, Snibbed. I tell you not to go to your granny's house for Christmas. I tell you not to stay over, and you's fucking done it. You's are snibbed. Then you's all went out Hogmanay. Some of yous went cold water swimming because you're all hipster douchebags. Now you're snibbed. And the Waynes are in the house, and you're all going to go mental, and then 3 years later, we get Bojangles, who, can I say at this point, the boy's not looking well. He's not looking well. You know? He must be he's not a very well put together man, Boris Johnson. He does feel like when he was created at the Tory conference party, I imagine in the 60s, they just found like a bucket of leftover bits and bobs and threw the man together. But my God, he's looking gaunt, is the word, gaunt, and just fucked, you know? Boris is actually starting to look how we feel. I don't know if Bojangles is actually like that wee plant in E.T. That when E.T. starts going, "Elliot, I'm fucking rattling," the plant starts to go. Maybe that's Bojangles. Maybe as the mood of the nation deteriorates and our angers increase, Bojangles starts to fade away to like some kind of skeleton creature. Who knows? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? If somehow the Prime Minister was connected to the fears and anger of the nation. If we were to riot in the streets, set fire to cars, that the Prime Minister himself would fade away and crumble to dust. Oh, what a world to live in. But yes, now, apparently, we're in lockdown 3. I thought it was lockdown 2. I must have missed 2. Or maybe it just felt like we've just constantly been in lockdown. So it's starting to feel as if this was the plan all along, but governments are too much of a shite bag to actually be honest with people and just let them know what's happening. It feels to me that it's quite convenient that this new strain of the virus appears to be 70% more transmittable than the original strain, which to me, listen, I'm not a man of science, you know, I'm a man of cider, but sometimes the two shall meet. I mean, if you give junkies enough heroin and enough booze, eventually they will, you know, write Shakespeare, as the saying goes. Everything just It smells a bit funny to me. Everything just smells a bit fishy, you know what I mean? Second strands. Viruses mutating. But look, listen, let's bring it all down to a personal level, right, that I can relate on. If this is originally attacking the vulnerable and the weak, I put it to you, listener, who is more vulnerable, who is more weak than a man with poor health, poor mental and physical health, you know, morbidly obese by his GP, morbidly. Oh, the size of the man is morbid. Would you not think I'd go to Benu? You know? Maybe I'm one of those people who's like the super cunts, the super immune, super pensioners, you know? You get it, but you're like you're the outbreak monkey. You're like, not today, cunt, and you just fucking pass it on. You know? It's like pass the parcel. It's like the COVID vaccine's like pass the parcel. Pass the parcel. Pass the parcel. Pass the parcel? What is the name of that game? Pass the parcel. Pass the parcel. I mean, if you're a French, you know, I spent a lot of my time in the Parisian outskirts of Paris. You know? Where many a young child's party for Pepe Le Pew from the Le Pew dynasty. You know? And they'd say, it's good you wouldn't play passe parcel. And I say, oh, pass the parcel, my man. Yes, in French, passe parcel. We're 5 days into this new year and I'm fucking losing it already. Passe parcel. You want play passe parcel? Well, it was passe parcel. It's the parcel. And you pass. Oh, pass the parcel. Passe parcel. COVID-19 is like pass the parcel. You know? We're handing it round, man. We're handing it round. You know? We are the world. Passing the virus. And every now and again the music stops and somebody dies. As is life. 75,000 deaths now in the UK. We've passed that. Can I just say, I thought it was more. You know, I genuinely thought it was more than 75k. I mean, it's less than Old Trafford. You know? That's less than Old Trafford. Look, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. If I had the answers, I would tell you. You know? I wouldn't lie to you. I would tell you. But I don't know what's going on. Let's look at some news, shall we? Some articles from people who we hope are higher educated than us, at least inform us. But obviously, we know now the news in this country is very much as to deflect from the actual reality of life. So we're probably more informed by fucking no reading the news. I'm going to talk about some coffee in a minute because I watched a wee documentary the other night, which angered me. I've also realised that, I know we're going off in slight tangents here, but let me just say this. For the sake of the podcast, for the sake of this show, and probably for the sake of my comedy once it gets back up and running, I've came to a decision in my life, quite a key moment in my life. I'm 36 years of age now. I don't know why in my head, but I feel as though if I can get to 40, right? If I can get to 40, that's going to be a big turning point. And I think when I get to 40, I don't know how or I don't know why, but I just feel as if life's going to get a lot easier at that point. Don't ask me, Gibble, why? I don't know why. It's a feeling I've got in my bones. You know, it's in my water. I've blasted 4 series of Peaky Blinders. Maybe there's some gypsy blood in me. Maybe I've got the second sight like Polly. You know? Although, if you're asking me, she should have been shot. Again, we might discuss that later. But I've came to the point at the start of this year when we're all doing the kind of New Year's resolutions now, the focus is going to be on health. Alright? We've had too long of living life as a fat man. We'll always be a big boy. We'll always be a big unit. We'll always be carrying a bit of timber. But we need to get ourselves more in line with what is considered a normal human. You know? It would be nice to be able to bend without farting. This is the thing. You need to take small steps you know? People will say things like, I want to lose £100. I want to lose 60 stone. You know, I'm a size 22. I want to be a size 8. It's not going to happen, Sandra. It's not going to happen. You know? But if you take wee steps, take baby steps, and you say to yourself, right, I'm going to get up every day at a reasonable time. I'm not going to lie in because of COVID, because, my current lifestyle allows me to do that. I'm going to go up, I'm going to tackle the day. Now, tackling the day could be something as easy as, making a coffee, watching Fraser in the morning. Or Frasier. Or Fraser. However you say it. You know? Channel 4. Listen, you can go up and you can watch Joe Wicks and all these other ball bags jumping about with their long hair and their tight shorts. Or you can get up, turn on Channel 4, and you can watch a double header of Frasier first thing in the morning with a coffee. And you can say to yourself, do you know what? What a way to start the day. Feel energised. Almost, dare I say it, you feel educated because you've heard a couple of toffs saying some fancy words for an hour with advert breaks. Baby steps. Baby steps leads to big steps, leads to strides, leads to jogging, leads to running. Before you know it, it's the end of the year and you're a fucking machine. You're svelte. Crack walnuts on your fucking body. I don't know what the bits are called. The bits that go in. The fucking... The cock scuttle. The cock lens. The bobby arrows. You get the fucking hanging in it. That bit. Not for me. I'm going more for the... I'm going for more world's strongest man body physique. That's what I'm going for. Chest and arms. Solid gut. Granite. A granite gut. With a good layer of fat on it to protect you for the winter. That's the body type we're going for. But small steps. Small steps. So we'll get up, tackle the day, whatever that may mean to you, and we'll gauge momentum. So if we can get to the point where we're buying normal size clothes and we can bend over without farting, that would be great. And I think that's a good goal for 2021. But back to what I was talking about before we went off and this slight cul-de-sac. I've came to a realisation that I am, and I'm going to say it here, because I think it's good to say these things out loud. You put it into the atmosphere, into the universe, and, God accepts it, processes it through the angels, and then hands it back to you, if you believe in that kind of thing. I am, at my core, an angry person. There's no point in me trying to hide that. Things anger me. I get wound up by a lot of stuff. I get angry at things. I was sitting the other day and we were watching Come Dine With Me. And now listen, I know that could be a trigger for many of you. Come Dine With Me. Listen, I think the way to know if you're going to be part of the revolution is if you can sit and watch an episode of Come Dine With Me without having any reactions of anger or disgust towards the 4 or 5 bags of human waste that are participating in said show, then there's no hope for you in the future. There's no hope for you. If you're watching Come Dine With Me and you are moved to the point where you either physically scream something at the television or you become uncomfortable in your chair, or even to the point where you turn to your family and say, I can't watch this fucking shite any longer, and you walk out, you will probably be a colonel or at least a sergeant when the revolution comes. You're the people we need. So I have accepted. I'm just an angry person. I have tried to do the whole positive thoughts, positive thinking. Allow the energy to flow in and just exhale all that negativity and bad stuff out. But some of us are just fueled by the darkness. There are some of us who are just fueled by the darkness. And let's be honest, right? When we get back to gigging and we get back to touring, do you want to go and see a comedian that's all happy and light and isn't the world all sugar lumps and rainbows? Who's got Facebook? I joined a Facebook group last week and I was like, oh my God, isn't this a great place for inspirational joy and picking up people? Or do you want somebody who'll go, listen, what the fuck's going on with all about albinos? I think we want the latter. And that's what I am. There's no point in trying to fight it. So I'm accepting it. I'm just an angry person. And, I keep my circle small. Look after those around me. My loved ones. But I consume life. And that's filtered through an angry funnel. And then it manifests in this podcast and in in my comedy. So, there's no point. There's no point trying to fight it any longer. I started doing yoga, right? Fuck me. Jesus, Kepple, I've started doing yoga. Now, I'm 2 days in, right? So we're at the genesis of this yoga campaign. I'm already considering Tai Chi. I'm already considering moving on to another form of fucking hand jiving. Maybe that's when a friend of mine, a gentleman, one of the finest comics this country's ever produced, by the name of Raymond Mearns, an incredible comedian. He was going through a divorce. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. Going through a divorce, he was having a bit of a difficult time, and he went to the Buddhist Centre in Glasgow to possibly inquire about becoming a Buddhist, in the hope that might centre his chi, because his chi was fucked. His chakras were chacked. And at the time, battling alcoholism. Happy to say he has since battled his demons. And the story goes, it was told to me that by Mr. Mearns himself, that he went to the Buddhist Centre, and after a brief but in-depth discussion with a Buddha, the response was to Raymond himself going, maybe Buddhism isn't for you, Raymond. Now, I imagine the Buddhas are famed for their ability to deal with a difficult customer. But how angry does your aura have to be that even the Buddhists are holding their hands up saying, there's fuck all we can do for you, big man. I would suggest get back on the whiskey. I wonder if word get back to Tibet. The old Lama, the old Dalai, sitting with all the fucking last apsos on him in the temple. As a couple of boys with their shirts off get whipped in the corner, not a flinch amongst them. That's a bit weird. Dalai, listen, in all the years of Buddhist teaching, we've never turned back a brother. But today, in the furthest western outpost of Glasgow, a gentleman by the name of Raymond Mearns came in, and sadly we had to say that Buddhism was not for him. In the name of the wee man. So, because we're big, right, we're big boned, we're a large gent, there's a lot of me. I thought, let's give yoga a go, right? Bit of flexibility, bit of movement, get the bones going, get the joints moving. I wake up in the morning and it's like a tree getting cut down, man. The cracks, the creaks. And now I'd love to be one of these people who jumps out of bed. Imagine jumping out of your bed in the morning. How many of us jump out of bed? I literally have to drag my carcass from the fucking mattress. I throw the duvet off, which as soon as you do that and that first blast of cold air comes into you, I literally want to die. I'm glad I don't have the option just to pull the ripcord then, because I would do it every fucking morning. There's not a worse sound on this planet than your alarm going off, right? Now you might say to me, what if there was a house fire, Gib, and your family's burning? I'm telling you right now, there's not a worse sound than your alarm going off first thing in the morning. And when you move that cover and that first blast of cold air comes in, quickly followed by the cat trying to get your feet, fuck off! I have to, shift, move. I can't just sit up, I don't just sit up and bounce out of bed. Good morning, world. No, that's not my house. And I don't imagine that's your house either. I have to shift, move weight like I'm a fucking tanker. Get a good rhythm going. Almost fling a leg as some kind of counterbalance to get the top end up in it. In the name of fuck. Then it's a case of grabbing bed frames to do that final lift out. So yes, I don't jump out of bed in the morning. I very sluggishly make my way to the bathroom, and deposit the first load of piss for the day, and then you go about the day. So I thought, right, yoga in the mornings. We're locked down now as well. We're back in the house. There's not many things we can do. Although there's two guys, right? Listen, where I am in Edinburgh, it's in Leith, which is historically the shit bit, but Edinburgh hasn't really had any historical shit bits for quite some time because there's a lot of fucking money in this city. So even the bits that are like kind of shit are still very vibey and trendy and cool and hipster, So where we are in the kind of complex, the block of flats, if you want to call it, we've got, obviously, got a few professional types, whatnots, got a doctors, yes, a mix with the upper echelons of aristocracy here in Edinburgh. But as most places in the UK, whenever there is a nice bit of town, it attracts drug dealers. So we've always got a couple of drug dealers that live here as well. A boom time for the drug dealer. Lockdown will not stop them. They will get your Colombian marching powder to you somehow. Some of the most innovative people you'll meet, drug dealers. Nothing stops them. Very much get up and go attitude. And to the gentleman, the not really the narco school of drug dealing, kind of low key, shifting, metric tons of powder at a time. They're more the kind of what I would class the kind of Glasgow, the kind of Franco and Sandra, in your face. The shitey BM that's been kitted out with the crap alloys and the tinted windies, and very tight, a lot of Gymshark been worn by these two gents. Very tight. I don't know if they are unaware of their sizing, or they just refuse to admit, like a woman who's put on a couple of pounds post pregnancy refuses to admit that she's now 14 and tries to squeeze herself into a 10. These two gentlemen very much adopt that school of thinking. Possibly Gymshark don't go to that size to cover that mass, but they've somehow squeezed the frames in. Anyway, they have decided, because obviously the gym's shut, so they kind of go and punt their gear and jag their arse, that they've now turned the underground car park into some kind of CrossFit training, which is a joy to watch. Hilarious, in fact. They've got a wee Bluetooth speaker blasting, and a bit of grime, nothing says young drug dealer these days like some grime, especially if they're two honkies. And they've got their wee dumbbells, and they just kind of go and look at each other, as very much a homoerotic, circuit class that they can. So that's now happening in the basement, which is fun. And so I've gone down the route of yoga, and like I say, 2 days in, and already I'm considering Tai Chi. Day one, difficult start. Went for beginners yoga for beginners, and listen, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the woman who was doing the online class is aware of what the word beginner means. It was intense, and now this is on YouTube, right? It's free on YouTube. They've had millions of views. I, like most of you, do these things where I look for stuff on YouTube and then I just go by whoever has the most views on a particular subject or topic. I just assume they're the best. And the missus did it, and then I did it, and I couldn't do it, and it was hard. I don't think that, I mean, it's never going to happen, right? But thin people, small people, like, slight built yoga people, right? We scrawny people, right? I often think it would be quite interesting if you were to take like a fat suit, for example. Like if I was to take a bodysuit that was the equivalent of my weight and give that to one of these wee yoga people, I generally don't think they could get out of a chair. Right? Now, that's obviously a horrible insight into my large frame and just the size I am. But the patronising tone in which they talk through these beginners classes is upsetting. Now, I was also put off. I'll talk about the other one just now before we go back to that. I found another one, which is, and I quote, yoga for bigger bodies. Right? Obviously, they can't put fat people. People might be offended by that or triggered, but listen, you're fat, right? Just accept these things. If you're a big person, you're fat. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. There's this whole thing like, you can be fat and be healthy. You cannot. You cannot. It defies the laws of science. If you're fat, you're not well. Right? I'm a fat person. I'm not well. So we're doing something about it. But this one, yoga for bigger bodies, it's good because it's yoga for fat people. And it's a lot of standing up stuff in different poses and positions. Because sitting like a wee teddy bear with your legs crossed, for a fat person, is difficult. And again, any positions that don't encourage much bending in the waist, if the nipples drop below the waistline, I'm gonna fart. So, things that are on the mat, up and about, good. And the reason why I'm thinking about moving to Tai Chi, or I'm thinking about maybe definitely sticking with this yoga for bigger bodies, is because it doesn't have the patronising tone that the other yoga person has. Right? The first yoga class, they're showing you the moves. They'll show you the move. Okay, now what we're going to do now, and it's just all this very soft, very, right, we're all here for some yoga. Okay, so listen, I'm sure most of us have suffered some kind of abuse, whether it be physical or mental, at some point in our life, and we've all found ourselves here because we really do not want to stand for the mistreatment of animals any longer in society. So by doing raising to the sun and downward dog, we can change humanity from the inside. Shut the fuck up. Show me the moves and fuck off. It's the chat in between it that I couldn't cope with, right? It's the chat in between it. Let me explain. There's one where they're doing a thing with their hands, and you're bringing your hands up, and then you're moving your shoulders, and you're stretching, right? What would have been called stretching years ago is now yoga, right? Because everything's got to be rebranded. It's all got to have a vibey name, and it's got to have a way that you can market it, because they're always about making money and moving fucking things on, right? When I played rugby, we called it stretching, but now it's called yoga, right? So, do the stretch, like, bring your hands together and exhale as you push forward and rotate your shoulders and really feel that pinch. Fine. But then they'll do things like, now you're just a little field mouse and you're lying in the meadows and you can breathe and exhale to the sound of life as it trickles down upon your vertebrae, and just feel all that negative energy leave your sphere and your chakra and your chi, and inhale and breathe in and move the arm to the side of the sun. Whereas yoga for fat people, or big bodies as it is on YouTube, is, right, on the mat, get your fucking massive feet, face it forward. Let me check if your ankles are pointing the right way. Oh, that's right. I can't see your ankles because your foot is a swollen mass, you fat sack of shit. Okay, here we go. First thing that you're probably wondering is, how on earth did I get a pair of gym trousers to fit this fat fucking bastard? That question will come up at the end of the episode. Now, raise your hands. If you can get your hands above your head, congratulations, there's a chance you're not type 2 diabetic. For the rest of you fat cunts, this is going to be a struggle. New year, new me, man. New year, new me. Same old attitude. Same levels of anger. Well, doing yoga, man. So I might move on to the old fucking, wax on, wax off. Because it feels a bit more kind of, here way, you may be able to use that in day-to-day life. If you get jumped off a bunch of neds, you may be able to go into fucking Miyagi style and they'll be like, oh no, that's kind of Tai Chi. And then you're off. With it knowing it's just it's a glorified yoga technique. But it's how you present yourself to the world. So yes, listen, let's go back. I don't even know how we started talking about this. We're fucking 30 minutes in. We started talking about this by lockdown. And let me read some of this information for you. So you will know by now, as you're listening, that Scotland, Scotland is locked down. We're snibbed, you know, snibbed again by the demon stepmother, that is Sturgeon. So businesses fucked. Although, you know, the Chancellor today announces apparently another 4.6 billion has been found behind the sofa in number 10 and being rolled out. So it's an odd one, because you hope obviously no more people lose their jobs or no more people lose their livelihoods. But at the same time, those of us who are scraping by on a fucking tuppence, there's not much hope for the future at this point. Because even if we can get back into a pub again, or we can get raving and misbehaving, you know, it's going to be a tough one when we're all working 6 jobs, because your council tax is fucking $2,500 a month. Oh, God. To be young again. Right, First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, said the Scottish Government will enforce restrictions similar to those of a lockdown from midnight to Nacht. Now, that was last night, today. Nicola Sturgeon, currently making a statement to Parliament, announced that a legal requirement to stay at home, except for essential purposes, will come into effect until the end of January. The First Minister said the tightened restrictions are due to the new COVID variant of the virus, which now accounts for almost half of the new cases in Scotland. Right, so we know that this new strain's in, and more people are getting it, and more people are dying. Honestly, I don't actually have a problem with another lockdown. I really don't. I would rather we went, you know, real extreme on the lockdown, and just did that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then try to start easing this. I really do. I still, although this is horrible for, you know, hundreds of thousands of more people, millions more people across the UK, there's still a wee bit of me that thinks it isn't enough. You know, there's still a wee bit of me that thinks we've not gone far enough to end this. Because if the hope is that we do get back to normal, what the fuck's normal anymore? This is now normal. This is normal. We've lived this for too long now. This is normal. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happens at this point. Like I said, I'm worried again we're not going far enough. And I've said this before. We talk about fucking COVID every bloody week in this podcast. What else are you going to fucking talk about, man? I've said previously, and I still kind of stand by this, you know, cigarette paper science, if we want to call it, for want of a better phrase. If you can tell me that the incubation period or the infection period of the virus is, for example, 3 weeks, right? So if you were to contract the virus, it would take 3 weeks for the virus to affect you, take over your body, and for you to pass that and get better. But then I suppose they can't really give a time for that, because there's some people who are still in hospital just now who were infected in the virus back in fucking March and April. So that doesn't make sense what you're saying, Gibbo. I don't know. I'm just saying, listen, I just think if we're going to go for another lockdown, it gives us a little bit of hope that we might get back out again. I was out last night walking the dog for his final walk, and then I fucking shot the back for his last walk of the night. And we went past a pub, and that was the first pub that me and the missus had a pint in the summer when things started to ease. And when I walked past it last night, I was looking at the beer garden, and I went, how long ago does it feel since we sat there and had a pint? And she's like, it feels like a long time ago. And I was like, it was only like 6 months ago. Do you mean it was the summer? And I says, and that feels like such a long time. And I can remember then thinking, this is the start of things that are going to get better. You know, I can remember in July thinking, why did they cancel the Fringe? Because it could have went ahead. And then everything's gone to shit again. So it's almost more damaging to kind of get that that constant little bit of hope, and then to have everything removed from you over and over again. Because what happens is, I think one or two things, you almost become immune to it. So then when we do get our freedom back, if that's what you want to call it, or the world does go back to some kind of normality, whether that be pubs and restaurants are open, shops are open, you can move freely, you can travel, you can go on holiday, you can go back to work, you can go to gigs, you can see comedy shows. Are there going to be some people who are slightly reserved on that? And it may take even longer for everything to kick back in and the economy to be restored, because people are like, what is the point in, what's the point in booking a holiday because they're just going to cancel in 6 months? What's the point in, booking for dinner, organising a night out, because the government can just turn around in 24 hours? It probably will get to the point where it might take a year again for people to actually feel confident that they can plan things or do things, because they're not going to get plummeted back into lockdown again. It'll also be quite a hard shift to encourage people to spend again, I would imagine, because the one thing the government will want, as soon as all restrictions are lifted, that every fucking penny you have in your bank, you fire it into the high street. That's what they want. But I imagine there'll be a lot more. Certainly me. I mean, I'm the worst person with money in the world. Money's like water, man. I can't keep a hold of it. But I know surviving since March. And listen, there's no point in getting all fucking poor me and woe's me shit. The reason why I'm struggling so much is because, I live in Edinburgh and my rent is fucking ridiculous. The bills here are ridiculous. That's the reason why we're struggling. There's no income through gigging. I'm very lucky that I have some amazing people who support this podcast on Patreon, and if you don't, you fucking shit. So I'm very lucky with that. The little bit of income I have, I managed to scrape that together to at least pay my bills and survive. And there are people who are far worse off, but let's not forget there are people who have a good bit of money because they've worked fucking hard to get that money. And now they might be in a position of genuine fear where they think, well, we can't spend it. We have to continue to borrow money away because are we naive enough to think that when restrictions are lifted and we go back to normality, there's no more tier structure, there's no more curfews, there's no more stay at home, that there's a chance a couple months past that we don't go back into some kind of other quarantine? Fuck knows, man. Really, honestly, fuck knows at this point. I just think I feel for the people who are also self-employed. I feel for the people who run a business. I run the business of Gibble, but I feel for the people who run a business because there's a new business, a bottle shop that's opened up around the corner for me. There's a burger place in Edinburgh called Dirty Burger, which I love. I follow those guys on Instagram. You should follow them, check them out if you're ever in Edinburgh. And they've recently done their place up with a kind of new year attitude of, let's get the place looking really good and kind of take the business in a different direction and kind of, push a kind of new year launch, if you like. And then they've just been hit by this. So it must be fucking hard, man. It must be fucking hard. And then the other side of the coin is just normal people who have got a decent job and you're still getting your salary. That's affecting people's mental health. They're maybe worried that people around them, friends and family, aren't they coping? But, is there the kind of survivor's guilt almost that they're getting past, but they could find themselves now with their children are home. They're concerned about their children's future. Are they being educated? What's going to happen? It's such a horrible, horrible time. It really, really is. And I don't think that the government understands just how much we're going through. I really don't. I really don't think the government understands just how much this has affected people, and I think we're going to be dealing with it for quite some time. I really do. Even talks about the hospitals being overrun again, the NHS, especially here in Scotland. Sitting listening to the news this morning, they'll talk about potential cases reaching back into tens of thousands, and hospitals in Scotland could be overrun. So what the fuck was the pop-up hospital they built at the SECC? It was like 50 million quid that's never been fucking used. Like, do we just forget about these things? Fucking bastards. Nicola Sturgeon said at our briefing, this is most certainly not the New Year's statement I wanted to give and not the one anyone wanted to hear, but it's still happening. We must do everything we can to slow down the spread of the virus. We must immediately, we must act immediately and firmly. It means following the rules and guidance, but above all, it means staying at home. From tomorrow, which is today, which is Tuesday as I'm recording, obviously you're listening to this on a Wednesday, from Tuesday, only a maximum of 2 people from 2 households will be allowed to meet outside. This will not include children under the age of 11. Places of worship will also be closed and non-essential travel into and out of Scotland will not be allowed. Nicola Sturgeon said this is the most concerned she has been about the worsening of the situation since March last year, just before the virus's original peak. Comparing the situation to a race, Nicola Sturgeon said the virus is now ahead of the pace of vaccination due to the new variant. There has been 289 deaths in Scotland since the beginning of the Christmas period. Oh, God. Who knows what's going to happen, man? Who knows? It's pretty fucking grim. Pretty fucking grim. I suppose you've all just got to stick in, and there's not really much else we can do. But like I was saying earlier, I do feel as if it's still not enough. I really do. I think that because we've gone through a full lockdown before, you know, it's not as scary this time. It's certainly not as frightening. When the first one, when it was like you were allowed 1 hour exercise a day, that was frightening. It was worrying. You know, I'll be honest, it was frightening. I was going out to walk the dog and get my hours exercise, and it felt there was a very strange feeling on the street. It was a very eerie feeling in the street. Whereas now that feeling's completely gone, you know, and it's almost a sense of frustration that we have. So, who knows? Who knows what will happen? But part of me would like to see just a full lockdown, in the sense of that Nicola Sturgeon and Boris Johnson just say, right, for example, from the 18th of January, the full country is going to lock down for 2 weeks. You know? For 2 weeks, the entire country will lock down. And when we say lockdown, we mean lockdown. There will be no shops open, no businesses open. We're going to completely stop the country for 2 weeks. You don't leave your house other than to get 1 hour's exercise a day. You cannot move from your area. Shut everything. Shut everything down. Give people enough time to get some supplies in, stock up, but everything shuts. Do it for a week, do it for a fortnight, and see if that has any impact on things. I don't know. It just feels as if everything's all, you know, it does. It feels like everything's kind of half-assed still. That we're still not ahead of it. That it feels as if neither government is making decisions. It feels as if the governments are still very much reacting to things. But who knows? Wherever you are, as always, I hope you're safe and I hope you're well. It seems as if we've also got another update coming today from Boris Johnson at 5 p.m. So as you are listening to this, then there could have been even further changes in the current situation, but who knows, man. Stay safe, team. Stay safe. Right, let's look at a wee news story, shall we? When I saw this, you know, obviously it's not a very nice situation to be in at all. But when I did see it, I thought, well, you know, how many times have people been warned? And this is an article which I saw in our good friends at the Metro. It's free for a reason. The reason being it's shite, and it's Chinese tech billionaire Jack Ma suspected missing after criticising the Chinese government. Now, never a nice thing when someone goes missing, but it's a good friends in China, very much like the Russians. You'll know that I'm a fan of, I wouldn't say dictatorships, right? Because that's not what they are, on paper. I'm possibly a fan of old school extreme violence. Maybe that's a way to. Maybe that's a way to describe it. I'm a fan of the mafia. I think the way that they ran their business, their organisation, top to bottom, watertight. And I feel as though our good friends in Mother Russia and the Chinese are the same. Listen, I mean no ill health upon anyone, but I there's a part of me, maybe it's the anger, there is a little part of me that enjoys the fact that China and Russia, they keep to their word. You can say what you want about them. They keep to their word. I like it. I just feel as if in a world where there's so much kind of grey area and going, I don't know, but is it no? And well, maybe, come on now. They continue to create a world that is binary. 1 and 0. Yes or no? Or maybe, no mate, it's either aye or it's a no. The Chinese government say, if you criticise us, if you say any bad words about us, we'll find you, we'll take you, and we'll kill you. And they do it over and over and over again, and still people think it will not happen to them. Now, could be wrong here, something else could have happened, but it sounds as if it's a bit of old-fashioned get him in the van. Chinese billionaire Jack Ma, good name, suspected missing after he's not been seen in public for 2 months. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Eh? I thought I was going to say 2 days. 2 months! We've not seen the bastard in 2 months. He's off. Unless he's doing a fucking... what's his name? What's the guy's name? The Korea. Oh, and the name of the wee man. Kim Jong. Remember, he disappeared. They thought he was dead. Turns out, he wasn't. The tech mogul who founded e-commerce platform Alibaba spoke about China's pawn shop regulators and state-owned banks in October 2020. What a fucking nutter. During the Shanghai speech, he compared the country's banking regulations to an old people's club while calling for reform. What an absolute psychopath. There are many things in life that I would do. To get up at a tech conference and criticise China's banking system in front of them. Get this, that's like Die Hard when he walks about that sign in the black neighbourhood. What a mentalist. His comments are believed to have angered President Xi Jinping and Communist Party, promoting the government to come down hard on Ma's business. Just a couple of weeks later, the initial public offering of the Ant Group, a company backed by Ma, was scheduled with a value of around $35 billion. However, it was suspended allegedly at the order of President Xi, with regulators citing major issues of concern. The concerns being, he's a mouthy cunt. Number of actions have also been taken against Alibaba, including an antitrust investigation into the company, which has wiped approximately $10 million from its net worth. Oh, God! Look, I'm not saying that governments should be able to control us. I'm not saying that governments should be able to impact on people's day-to-day lives in such a way. But isn't there a wee bit of you that likes the idea that there is someone like the Chinese and like the Russians who are out there going, don't open your fucking mouth or we'll murder your wains? Because that's exactly what they do. You're going to sell your company for $35 billion? No anymore, you're no cunt. We're going to take $10 million off the value of your company as well, and then we're going to take you and cut your hands and feet off. Listen, I hope the guy's alright. I hope he's just having a holiday. Obviously, he's not after this next bit. What's his name? Ma. The gentleman's name, Ma, has not tweeted since October 10th. What's happened in the world where the frequency of your tweets now dictates whether you've been assassinated by the Chinese government. It recently failed to appear on the final episode of Africa's Business Heroes. What? A talent show that sees the Jack Ma Foundation giving a shared $1.5 million grant to emerging African entrepreneurs. Now that's a show Netflix needs to buy up. The billionaire was replaced by his company co-founder Lucy Peng during the final episode of the show. Miss Peng said, "Long live China, I love the government, Ma's a dick, please don't kill me." Obviously I've added that for comedy effect. His picture was removed from the judge's webpage, prompting huge concerns over his welfare. He's dead. I think it's safe to say that he's gone. And, there's not much we can do about it. And I think we all just need to sit back and, listen. After everything that's happened with Wuhan and the virus, they're out there, they're partying, they're living life. And we're still waiting on Sturgeon and Bojangles to do another update. So I think we all just need to accept that we need to start learning Mandarin and just move forward into the new dawn and the new world. Maybe they do that. That's enough of that. It's a great tune though, isn't it? I mean, to be fair to them, see, I know I keep getting on about it. See, if the food was better, I'd move to China. I think it'd be a fucking wicked laugh. They don't fuck about, decent weather. You can go snowboarding. We've got Disneyland. What else? I could do my Tai Chi. I could be a Tai Chi guy in the garden. Bit of green tea. I love green tea. Good national anthem. Them in the Russian, they've got a good old get the fuck, Mike. They've got a good old fashioned da da da. We're gonna kill your fucking family. They've got that kind of good old, good old marching anthem. Huh? What's the lyrics? Arise, ye who refuse to be slaves. Ye who refuse to be slaves, arise and be enslaved by us. With your flesh and blood, let us build a great new wall. You've got a wall. You don't need another wall. As China faces the greatest peril, from each one, the urgent call to action come forth. Arise, arise, millions of but one heart. The lyrics maybe need some working on, but they've, good melody. Da da da, ba da ba da ba. Does the Chinese national anthem sound like the Superman theme tune? Not for me to say, for you to decide. Listen, I hope Jack Ma's alright. I hope he turns up, and I hope he's just been on a bender for a couple of weeks, stroke months, years. Who knows? Right, let's wrap this up. This one has been a rambling mess. I had a few things to talk about. Coronation Street continues in quarantine, thank God. Off licence will remain open. Yes. Football, what else? Minimalism. We'll talk about it in the next episode. I watched the documentary on that. It's changed my thinking, man. It's changed my outlook. Does this cup bring me joy? If it's full of coffee. Yes, it does. And of course, the coffee documentary, I've not had a chance to speak about that either. Right, we'll pick all that up on the Patreon episode in the Sunday service that goes out every Sunday. If you're not part of the Patreon, subscribe. 86 pence a week. It's fuck all. You get an extra episode. You support the show. Access to the comedy albums. Access to the goodies. Patreon.com. Patreon.com/Big Scott Gibson. Do it. Sign up. Enjoy it. You deserve it. Stay safe, team. Enjoy lockdown. Do not leave the country. Wash your hands and your arsehole. And if we all play ball, hopefully, I'll see you in a battlefield very soon. Onwards.